Taylor Swift just dropped her brand new album, Life of a Showgirl, and the internet is absolutely losing its mind. But it's not just because of the love songs about Travis Kelce. Fans are convinced that one track in particular, Actually Romantic, is a full-blown diss aimed directly at Charli XCX. And if you're sitting there thinking these two don't have any history, you're about to find out just how wrong you are. This beef has been simmering quietly for years, and Taylor just served it piping hot on a silver platter. The clues are everywhere, from song titles to lyrics that cut deeper than a surgical knife. We're breaking down every single detail, every lyric, and every moment that led to what might be the most passive-aggressive track Taylor Swift has ever released. Stick around because this story has more layers than you'd ever expect, and trust me, you don't want to miss a single one. Before we dive into this absolute mess of pop culture drama, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. I promise I won't write a song about you if you don't, unlike some people. All right, let's get into it. The moment Life of a Showgirl hit streaming platforms, chaos erupted. Spotify literally crashed from the sheer number of people trying to access the album at once. Swifties were ready, and they came prepared with notebooks, theories, and detective-level focus. Within minutes of the album going live, one song kept popping up in group chats, Reddit threads, and Twitter timelines. Actually Romantic. The title alone had people raising eyebrows because anyone familiar with Charli XCX's discography knows she has a track called Everything is Romantic. The similarities felt intentional, like Taylor was playing a game of musical chess and just said checkmate. Fans started dissecting the lyrics immediately, and what they found was nothing short of explosive. The song opens with a line that sent shockwaves through the fandom. Taylor sings about someone calling her a boring Barbie when they got drunk and brave. Then she mentions this person high-fiving her ex and saying they're glad he ghosted her. The pettiness didn't stop there. She goes on to describe how this individual wrote a song about her, saying it makes them sick to see her face. But here's where Taylor flips the script. Instead of being offended, she calls it sweet. She even says it's romantic how much time and energy this person spends thinking about her. The sarcasm is thick enough to cut with a knife, and fans ate it up. Comments flooded in saying Taylor was giving masterclass levels of shade, turning obsession into flattery, and making it sound like a compliment. The genius of it all had people stunned. But to really understand why this song hit so hard, we need to rewind. Back to 2018. Charli XCX was living what should have been a dream moment. She was announced as one of the opening acts for Taylor Swift's Reputation Stadium Tour. For any artist, opening for someone of Taylor's caliber is a massive opportunity. Exposure to millions of fans, sold-out stadiums, and a chance to grow your audience exponentially. But for Charli, the experience didn't quite live up to the hype. In interviews following the tour, she made comments that definitely rubbed Swifties the wrong way. She described performing on that tour as feeling like she was waving to 5-year-olds on stage. The implication was clear. She felt like Taylor's audience wasn't her audience, and she wasn't connecting with the crowd the way she wanted to. Charli went even further in a conversation with Variety, declaring that she was done opening for other artists. She said she needed to own her own thing and that opening slots just weren't for her anymore. Now, she did clarify later that she was grateful to Taylor and that her comments were simply about the difference in their fan bases. But, damage control or not, the internet never forgets. Swifties felt disrespected, and that comment became a reference point anytime tension between the two artists came up. It planted a seed, and that seed was about to grow into something much bigger. Fast forward to the summer of 2024, and Charli XCX was everywhere. Her album Brat became a cultural phenomenon, dominating charts and spawning countless memes. The term Brat Summer became a whole aesthetic, and Charli was riding high on her success. But one track on that album had fans doing double takes. Sympathy is a Knife dropped, and within hours, people were convinced it was about Taylor Swift. The lyrics talk about insecurity, comparing yourself to another woman, and feeling like you're spiraling because of it. Charli sings about one girl tapping into her insecurities and not knowing if it's real or just paranoia. She mentions not wanting to see this person backstage at her boyfriend's show and hoping a certain couple breaks up quickly. Here's where it gets spicy. Charli's husband is George Daniel, the drummer for the 1975. And Taylor Swift famously had a very public situationship with Matty Healy, the lead singer of the 1975. The connections were too obvious to ignore. Fans started theorizing that Charli didn't want Taylor around because of the Matty connection and that she was secretly hoping their fling would end. The lyrics felt personal, raw, and pointed. Even though Charli never confirmed the song was about Taylor, the internet had already made up its mind. The pieces fit too perfectly, and the speculation only intensified from there. Things took an even messier turn when fans noticed something suspicious about album release schedules. Taylor's team announced a strategic UK release push for her album, The Tortured Poets Department, right around the time Brat was climbing the UK charts. Some people saw this as a calculated move to block Charli from reaching that coveted #1 spot. Whether it was intentional or just coincidence, the timing raised eyebrows. Fans on both sides started throwing accusations, and the tension between the two fan bases reached a boiling point. But the absolute darkest moment came during one of Charli's live shows. Audience members started chanting "Taylor is dead" in Portuguese. The energy was vile, and Charli immediately shut it down. She stopped the show, addressed the crowd, and made it crystal clear that she wanted no part of that negativity. If you're still watching, you're clearly invested in this drama, which means you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, do it. I'll wait. Okay, done? Good. Let's keep going because this story only gets wilder. After that incident, Charli took to Instagram to address the situation. She posted a statement telling her fans to stop with the hateful behavior, both online and at her shows. She said it was the opposite of what she wanted, and that it disturbed her to think anyone would believe that kind of energy belonged in her community. She made it clear she wouldn't tolerate it. The statement was firm, direct, and necessary. But even with both artists seemingly trying to keep things civil publicly, the whispers of tension never went away. The narrative that these two had unspoken beef lingered in the background, waiting for the next spark to reignite it. And that spark came in the form of leaked lyrics. Before Life of a Showgirl officially dropped, a line from Actually Romantic started making the rounds online. The lyric in question was the one about being called a boring Barbie. Fans immediately connected it to Charli, and the reactions were instant. People started saying Taylor was popping off, that she was finally addressing the tension head-on. One particularly funny tweet pointed out that Taylor was dancing to Charli's performance at the Grammys while this diss track was locked and loaded in the vault. The irony was too good. Another layer of intrigue came from an unexpected source. Gabriette, Matty Healy's fiancée, left a comment on a comedian's Instagram post. The comedian had joked about what Taylor's next album might sound like, and Gabriette commented asking her to record Actually Romantic. Many fans took this as a sign that Gabriette knew exactly what the song was about and was throwing her own subtle shade into the mix. When the full song finally released, fans felt vindicated. The lyrics were even more pointed than the leaks suggested. Taylor sings about someone writing a song that says seeing her face makes them sick, but she frames it as adorable. She compares the whole situation to a toy chihuahua barking from a tiny purse. The visual is hilarious and cutting at the same time. Then comes one of the most savage lines in the entire track. Taylor sings about how this person's boyfriend probably asks why they're always talking about her. It's a direct jab at the idea that Charli might be more obsessed with Taylor than she'd like to admit. The song basically flips the entire narrative, suggesting that the real issue isn't Taylor at all, but someone else's inability to let go of their fixation. Taylor herself gave some context to the album in an interview with BBC Radio 1. She talked about how the album reflects her current mood, which is happy, in love, and giddy. But she also mentioned that it has teeth. She said there's always some element of drama that someone forces into her consciousness and that it's fun to write about. She didn't name names, but the implication was obvious. Someone dragged her into something, and she responded the only way she knows how, through music. In another moment from that interview, she described Actually Romantic as a love letter to someone who hates you. She found the whole situation flattering, like the attention she was getting from this person was almost endearing in its intensity. The confidence in her tone was palpable, and it added another layer to the song's meaning.
Let's talk receipts. The timeline of subtle shade between these two goes back further than most people realize. After Charli's comments about the Reputation tour, there were small moments over the years that fans picked up on. A lack of public interaction, no social media shout-outs, and a general absence of any acknowledgement of each other's work. When Sympathy is a Knife came out, Charli denied it was about Taylor in interviews, but the denial felt weak given how perfectly the lyrics aligned. Then there's the fact that Taylor was literally dancing and vibing to Charli's performance at the Grammys, all while sitting on a song that fans would interpret as a direct response. The level of composure that takes is honestly impressive. She played it cool, showed public support, and let her music do the talking later. The fan reactions to Life of a Showgirl have been all over the place. Some people are calling it her best work in years, while others are saying it falls flat. One common take is that it feels like Reputation's younger sister, but not quite as polished. Some fans think it's better than Midnight's, while others are disappointed by the production choices. Tracks like Wood and The Fate of Amelia got praised for their energy and lyricism, but songs like Honey got dragged for feeling too childish or undercooked. The mixed reviews haven't stopped the album from dominating charts, though. Swifties are streaming it on repeat, dissecting every line, and defending it with the same intensity they bring to everything Taylor does. Love it or hate it, the album has people talking, and that's exactly what she wanted.
One thing that keeps coming up in discussions is how this album might signal a shift in Taylor's release strategy. Some fans think this could be the last album for a while, that she's finally taking a break after years of nonstop output. Others believe she's just getting started and that there's more to come. Either way, Life of a Showgirl feels like a statement. It's bold, unapologetic, and unafraid to address the noise. Whether the noise comes from exes, industry drama, or fellow artists, Taylor is making it clear she's not backing down. And honestly, that's the energy that keeps people hooked. What makes this entire situation so fascinating is that neither Taylor nor Charli has officially confirmed anything. There's been no public call-out, no direct confrontation, and no definitive statements about who these songs are actually about. It's all speculation, interpretation, and fan theories. But that's also what makes it so compelling. In an era where celebrities often address drama directly through social media or interviews, this old-school approach of letting the music speak feels almost refreshing. It's messy, it's unclear, and it keeps everyone guessing. The ambiguity is part of the appeal, and both artists seem content to let the mystery linger.
At the end of the day, pop girl feuds have always been a part of the industry. From Madonna and Cyndi Lauper to Britney and Christina, these dynamics create headlines and fuel conversations. What's different now is how fans engage with it. Every lyric gets analyzed, every Instagram post gets screenshotted, and every interview gets dissected for hidden meanings. The level of involvement from audiences has turned these feuds into full-blown cultural events. And whether it's real beef or just perceived tension, the impact is the same. It gets people listening, talking, and taking sides.
So where does this leave us? Taylor dropped an album that has everyone talking, and one song in particular has sparked endless debate. Charli continues to thrive with her own music and aesthetic, seemingly unbothered by the speculation. Fans on both sides are locked in, defending their favorite artist and building cases for why their interpretation is the right one. And in the middle of it all, the truth remains elusive. Maybe Actually Romantic is about Charli. Maybe it's about someone else entirely. Or maybe it's a composite of multiple experiences Taylor has had with people who seem overly invested in her life. The beauty of songwriting is that it doesn't have to be one thing. It can be layered, multifaceted, and open to interpretation. What we do know is that Taylor Swift has once again proven why she's one of the most skilled lyricists in the game. She can take a complicated, messy situation and turn it into something catchy, clever, and conversation-worthy. She can address tension without ever saying a name, and she can make shade sound like a compliment. That's the level of artistry that keeps her at the top, and it's why people will keep coming back album after album. Whether you're Team Taylor, Team Charli, or just here for the drama, one thing is certain. This story is far from over, and the next chapter could come from either side at any moment. All right, if you made it this far, you're officially part of the inner circle. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any updates on this saga, because trust me, there's always more tea to spill. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. Is Actually Romantic about Charli, or are we all reading too much into it? I want to hear your theories. And hey, if you learned something new today or just enjoyed the chaos, hit that like button. I'll catch you in the next one, and until then, stay messy. Peace.